now tuned into The Truth with G. Inspire, educate, and uplift. If you can't handle the truth, this ain't the show for you. The truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So sit back, relax, and buckle up and enjoy this ride.
The Truth with G. The Truth with G. The Truth with G.
All right. Welcome back to the show. You're listening to The Truth with G, right here on WPMM Internet Radio. I am your boy, Gerald Graham. You know me as G. And once again, we are back to talk about the issues that matter to you and your community. Hope all is well with everyone. It is Monday, October 2nd, second day of October. September has just flown by. And just a moment. There we go. But yeah, month of September flew by. It's like it went to sleep one night and woke up the next day and September was gone. So it was a quick month. Sometimes you want the months to slow down. Sometimes you need them to speed up. But you know, when you get older, you want time to slow down just a little bit. But that's just how it goes. But I want to thank you once again for joining me right here on The Truth with G. Coming out of the weekend. I hope you had a great weekend. Hope you had a great start to your week. The weekend was absolutely beautiful as far as the weather here in Northwest Florida. If you didn't get outside this weekend, you certainly missed out. Because again, the weather was absolutely amazing. No rain. There was barely any clouds in the sky. It wasn't extremely hot. I think we got up to in the mid-high 80s, but it wasn't really hot. The nights were comfortable. Seafood Festival went down this weekend as well in Pensacola. If you missed the Seafood Festival, it actually was quite interesting. I went out there and caught one of the bands out there, and I tell you, they call themselves the Tip Tops. And for a cover band, a show band, they were actually one of the better bands that I had seen in quite some time. But yeah, it was a great weekend to get out. But now we're back on the grind, start of the week. Hope you have a good week. So we are here to talk about these issues. And also we have Monday Night Football talk tonight as well. We're going to give out these football scores and give a little commentary analysis on the football games this past weekend. And a couple of interesting games went on. We'll talk about that. But let's go ahead and take care of the particulars so we can jump on into the show. If you're on Facebook, go ahead and share. And we are under the umbrella of Change Your Rise Media Group LLC, where is our parent company. We're at WPML. We play the best in R&B, jazz, neo, soul, talk, independent, hip hop, old school. You can listen at WPMMradio.com. You can go to iTunes, tune in. You can also tell Alexa to play WPMM. You can also download the app from the Apple Store or the Google Play Store as well. It's a free app to download. You can go to their website and download that app as well. And we are streaming live on Facebook and YouTube. So check us out. There's views and opinions expressed by individual radio hosts and guests are of their own and does not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of WPMM Radio. WPMM does not intend to align with any religion, ethnic group, club, organization, company, individual, or anyone or anything. Now that we have that out the way, once again, if you're on Facebook, go ahead and share. Also, if somebody want to listen to the show that you know and may not be tech savvy, may not have Facebook, what have you, just text them WPMMradio.com. Just put that in the message field. Hit play. I'm sorry, just send that to them. All they have to do is hit play, and then click on it, hit play, and they can listen to the show as well. So, but tonight we're going to talk about a few things. We're going to talk about things that are going on in our local area here. Shots fired seem to be the theme of the last few days. We're going to talk about the latest in violence that we have had here in Pensacola. We're also going to talk about the shutdown, the government shutdown. We did avoid the shutdown, but it's not over. We'll talk about that as well. Going to look at the situation in the House of Representatives, where Speaker McCarthy may be ousted. We'll talk about that. And also the trial, Letitia James in the Southern District of New York has brought the trial started today in the fraud case against the Orange Idiot. And we'll talk about that as well. And also, like I said, we got Monday Night Football talk. We're going to go over the Monday night, the scores from the weekend in college and pro football. So if you have any comments, drop them in the comment section on Facebook. We're not taking phone calls tonight. But if you have any comments, drop them in the comment section. We'll read your comment, or either we'll put it up on the screen and let everybody else read. So, but let's start on the local front, because I'm so tired of talking about the local violence that we are having in our area. It is absolutely ridiculous what is going on in the Pensacola area, and I don't know. I've been searching for resolutions, been calling for action, been trying to do my part and trying to get things calmed down here in the city of Pensacola, but it's not getting any better, people. It's not getting any better. We are it's like we're under siege from this gun violence, and it's happening almost on a daily basis. And we'll have a little cold spell where you don't hear about nothing for 2 or 3 days, and then shots fired, and then you hear 5-6 stories about somebody being shot at, killed, other violent crimes, home invasions, and stabbings, and all kind of dumb stuff, drive-bys, and I mean, it's ridiculous what is going on in our city. And I'm still looking for answers. And I'll be honest with you guys, my time has been spent. My time has been limited lately, and I haven't, by my own admission, I haven't been out there like I want to be in regards of advocacy for the gun violence. Right now, my main platform is the show, The Truth with G. But I will be making more of an effort to get out in the community more, to be, show my face, be vocal, and to call for action on all this violence that we are enduring here in the city of Pensacola. Couple of shootings that has happened in the past couple of days. This was on Sunday, which was yesterday. Homicide investigation underway by the Pensacola Police Department of a fatal shooting in Pensacola Village Apartments. If you don't know what Pensacola Village is, it's off Davis Highway, Davis and Fairfield, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, homicide, according to WAR News, homicide investigation underway after Pensacola police says one person was fatally shot at an apartment complex Sunday afternoon. Investigators say the shooting took place at the Pensacola Village Apartments on East Fairfield Drive around 1 p.m. According to one adult, the victim has been confirmed deceased. Then again, it was yesterday, and no other details about the victim's identity has been released. Investigators said another victim was also taken to the hospital by EMS with unknown injuries. Police say the suspect has been taken into custody, but they are currently searching for more possible suspects. No further information has been released on the investigation. And as far as today, I have not seen any updates today on that particular story in regards to any other suspects that has been taken into custody, or the condition of the second victim, which they are not saying that it's a gunshot. They are just saying unknown injuries. Someone else was taken to the hospital in that particular incident. But again, another shooting, another life lost, another life lost to the system, because if that person is found, if one they have in custody, if he's found guilty of the crime, will more than likely spend quite a bit of time behind bars and locked up in the penitentiary, which we need to stop feeding the system with our people and y'all know I fuss. Y'all know I fuss about a lot of things, and one thing that we shouldn't play a role in is participating in modern day slavery. We are producing the slaves and giving them to the state in order to put us back in bondage and put us out there in slavery. Slavery is still real. Slavery is still legal in the United States of America. And it's written in the Constitution that slavery is still legal. And the way it's written in there, it says slavery is legal if you have committed a crime. So in other words, if you have committed a crime and been found guilty of a crime and sent into the penal system, you are in fact enslaved. You are a slave to the state of Florida, or any other state. But we live in Florida, so obviously I'm going to talk more about Florida than the other states. But we cannot keep furnishing slaves to the state. And I know a lot of us, we are trying to get people to do right. We're trying to talk to people into doing right and giving people advice on how to do right, but it's not resonating, particularly in our young people. I'm not saying that old people aren't being idiots and doing stupid stuff, but the words that we're saying and the actions that we're taking as of right now is not resonating with these young people. And these young people continue to do stuff to get themselves locked up in our system. And once you're in the system doesn't care anything about you. Good evening, Miss Avery. Good to see you once again. Glad to see you on. Once again, shout outs to Mr. Oscar as well. Glad you guys doing great. Me and the family, we are hanging in there. We're truly blessed as well. Thank you, Miss Avery. But it's like all the advice and whatnot is not resonating with these young people. And I don't know what it's going to take in order to get these young people to realize that a life of crimes and criminal acts is only going to lead to death or locked up in the penitentiary. At one point, I used to hang with people that thought that or understood the fact that going to prison was a deterrent to commit acts that could put you in the system. And I don't think that exists anymore. I think these people, I think these young people they don't fear prison. It's almost like a badge of honor in some aspects for these people to go to prison and do their time in prison and then come out and they tout it as, as heroes of some sort. But I can't understand why people want to risk their freedom. And I can't even stay in my house long without having to walk out out the front door, and just to see a different scenery and get some air or whatever. And I cannot imagine being locked up in somebody's penitentiary. And we know even in the penitentiary, we have some people that are in there that did not commit crimes, that were either falsely accused of crimes. We have people that have been railroaded into saying that they did commit a crime when they really didn't, because of the fear of a longer sentence if they go before a jury and are convicted. But those cases are less than the idiots out there that are out there doing stupid stuff to get locked up. So, but that's another shooting that took place in Pensacola Village on Sunday. And then we find, every night I lay down and hope to wake up the next day and say, okay, we're not going to hear about a shooting. Nobody's going to get shot at or shot today. And oftentimes, my prayers go unanswered in that aspect, because we continue to wake up in the morning and find out that somebody has been shot, or throughout the day somebody's been shot or shot at. So now that the WAR is reporting another shooting that took place today. WS reporting breaking news. A man was shot this afternoon at an abandoned home on Blunt Street in Escambia County. Deputies found him laying in the doorway, and an investigation is ongoing. They are not releasing many more details in regards to that shooting. This happened this afternoon, today, if you will. And this was about 3:40 this afternoon. Let's see. They are also reporting, according to sheriff deputies, the sheriff's office deputy around to find a black male laying in the doorway, bleeding from at least one gunshot wound. He was taken to the hospital for treatment. Deputies found several shell casings at the scene. Deputy says 5 to 6 people were reportedly at the home prior to the shooting. However, only the victim was there upon the deputies' arrival. There are no known suspects at the time. Deputies say they have been called to the home over a dozen times in the past for drug and trespassing issues. Investigation is ongoing. So apparently there's an abandoned house that has been used by people who are either homeless or people that meet there and use it as a drug house. Miss Rivers, good evening, Miss Rivers. Good to see you. Good to see you. So Miss Rivers, I'm not gonna tell you business, Miss Rivers, but good to see you on here tonight. Good to see you on here tonight. I did run into you this weekend. Good to see you out and about, enjoying the festivities as well. But glad you joined me tonight. But in this shooting on Blunt Street, apparently this is an abandoned house that is being used for nefarious acts, if you will. And one of the things that whoever owns the house, if there is an owner to the house, they need to take the precautions to lock the house up and keep the drug seekers and the vagrants out of that home, if you will. But apparently, with the activity at that particular home, the police have been called out there at least a dozen times for whatever the case, whatever particular crimes that may have been going on. But now you found someone that is found shot and laying there, dying, if you will. And then they say that there was 5 or 6 other people that were there at the time of the shooting, but everybody's got it. Everybody gone. Everybody that was at that house has left, ran away, did whatever they had to do. And what they don't realize is by running or leaving the scene, or by not rendering aid to the gunshot victim, they are making their situations worse. And we're probably dealing with people who are on drugs or using drugs in that home or whatever. They may not be thinking clearly, but they have just made themselves suspects. They have just made themselves persons of interest. They have just made themselves subject to arrest and questioning, and they have subject themselves to possibly going in front of a jury of their peers in order to be cleared or convicted. They're all suspects at this point. But the fact that nobody stood there to render aid to the person that was shot, I don't know what the situation was, but humanity has to take part in this situation somewhere. I would hope that if someone knew that I was shot and found me landing anywhere with a gunshot wound, I would think and hope that they would help. But in this situation, apparently no one helped. But this gun violence that we are having in our city right now is just, I'm lost for words because I don't understand. If I had a better understanding, maybe I would think differently, but I truly do not understand what is taking place in our city, in the city of Pensacola, and why. And even in the surrounding areas, because it's not just Pensacola. You go a couple minutes to the west, and all that's happening in the Mobile and Spanish Fort, Daphne area, which is right across the street from us. You go north in the Milton area, we got people acting a fool up there. You go east to Fort Walton, Destin. There's people shooting. You know, it's the whole area. It's not just Pensacola. It's the Pensacola and the surrounding areas that we are having these issues. And I know a lot of people want to say, well, it's the parents, it's the upbringing, it's you know, it's you know, that they're not being raised right. You know, we got to beat our kids, and you know, we have a lot of that going on. But if you look at it, you know, some of those methods have been used and utilized over years, and they have not been a deterrent. So it's at a point to where we have to think outside of the box. We have to come up with new, better, innovative ideas on how to curb this violence that we are seeing today. We can't use 20th century methods to solve 21st century problems. So I'm gonna say that again. We can't use 20th century methods to solve 21st century problems. Just like the problems evolve, the frequency of these problems are more often, the severity of these problems seem to increase. The number of people involved in these acts or whatever, everything is increasing. So we can't continue to rely on 20th century solutions for 21st century problems. We cannot continue to do it. Mr. John Adams has just joined us. What's going on, Mr. John? Good to see you on here tonight. Good to see you on. We're talking about the continuous violence that's going on in our cities. We just talked about the 2 shootings that has happened in the last couple of days. One dead in Pensacola Village, one injured. Apparently, we don't know the status of his condition at this point. That was found at an abandoned home here in the city of Pensacola on today. It took place today, about 3:40 today. What is it going to take? What is it going to take, people? So, but I'm open for any suggestions. If anyone out there in the sound of my voice have any type of ideas or anything that we can do to help this stop and curb this violence that we have, because I'm a realist. I know the violence is not going to stop, because we're going to always have idiots that are going to be willing to do stupid stuff. So I know it's not going to stop completely, but we can slow it down. We can do something to slow it down. You know, whatever resources that we have to utilize, whatever programs that we need to have. I was doing a show. Or was I reading something? And I can't remember what it was. I was, oh my God, I can't remember if I was reading an article or something, or whatever the case may be. But anyway, it talked about incorporating anger management classes in our schools. Mr. Chris Murphy has joined us. I'm gonna put Mr. Chris. I'm gonna put his comment up on this. I'm gonna put it up because I want you guys to read this. Not to put you on blast, Mr. Chris, but you put the comment. And I'm gonna give you my take on your comment there. Which, you know, Mr. Murphy said it starts at home. He said, I feel the kids need to be disciplined more at home. I agree with that statement. You just used the word discipline. I'm not sure exactly what type of discipline you are referring to. But you know, you're not quite as old as I am, but you're close. So we know when back in the day when we said we need the discipline, that meant an ass whooping. And you guys know, if you listen to the show or whatnot, you guys know that I'm not I'm not really a fan of beating your kids or whooping your kids. I'm not really a fan of that, because I feel that discipline can be implemented and enforced without having to use an act of violence to get someone to act the way you want them to act, especially kids. I just don't believe that is the method, and I've talked about that many times on the show. And the reason I don't believe that beating your children is a deterrent is because I personally know a lot of people, several people that came up with me over the years, that came up with me as a kid or whatever, that got their ass tore out the frame, that took many ass whoopings. However, they still ended up in prison. They still ended up on drugs. They still ended up selling drugs. They still ended up being shot and killed because of gang activity and this, that, and other. They still went that direction. And I'm talking people that took ass whoopings like slaves. It didn't resonate with them. Those ass whoopings didn't mean anything. I know back in my day when we were in school, it was okay for the teachers to whoop your ass. Controlled whooping, if you will, with the paddle. When I came up in elementary school, middle school, it was being done. I think it stopped when I got in somewhere in high school, where corporal punishment, that what they used to call corporal punishment, it stopped in high school. But let's go back to the corporal punishment days in high school. And not high school. Let's go back to our elementary school, middle school. And think about it. The ones that was getting licks, the ones that were getting the licks from the dean, from the teachers, what have you, from the principal, those were the ones that were constantly getting licks. Those were the ones that was constantly getting in trouble. Even after they got licks on this day and got suspended, as soon as they got back to school, they got licks again and got suspended again or whatever. They were constantly getting in trouble. So that punishment, that physical punishment that they underwent, did not deter them from continuing to do what they did. So that's why I'm not a strong advocate for just inflicting pain on people to get them to behave or to bow down, if you will. I hate to use that term, but I don't feel like corporal punishment is the way, because again, I know plenty of people that got ass whoopings and are still in penitentiary today and have been in and out of penitentiary all life and either dead or in jail dead or suffering and not living a prosperous life because nothing was a deterrent for them. So I think we have to think outside the box. That's just my opinion. I'm just one man. I'm not saying everybody's opinion should be mine. But I just really don't think that corporal punishment is the alternative or the best method, if you will, for that. Let's see. Chris Murphy says, made to be respectful. They have no respect for anyone. Right. And Mr. John said we have prayed, talked, and prayed some more. However, at this point, I don't know. And, you brought up prayer. Now you want me to get on the church, Mr. John. I'm not going to jump on the church tonight. I'm not going to jump on the church because I think church folks think that all we need to do is pray. They ain't taking no action, but all they think all we need to do is pray. Well, look what all this prayer done got us. Prayer made us shoot. With all the prayer that we're doing, somebody got shot today. With all the prayer that we're doing, somebody got shot yesterday. But all the prayer we got to do, we're doing. Somebody got shot last week. We still got people shooting back and forth at each other. We're still burying people from these shootings. So praying is obviously not enough. And I know I'm gonna piss off some evangelicals at this point, some saints and some Christians and some people that are saved and sanctified and deal with the Holy Ghost. But we got to get out. If you spend more time in the community and out there in the streets talking to these kids that you do in the Bible and that you do within the walls of the church, we may be able to make a difference. And I just went to the right. Now, wasn't even going to talk about that this show, but Mr. John Adams, he got a way to bring things out. He always instigating. Half the stuff I say is because John done instigated something. So, Mr. John, I need you to calm down over there. I need you to calm down. And I think he's a Gator fan, if I'm not mistaken. He's just upset. I think he's a Gator fan. Mr. John, are you a Gator fan? Don't be ashamed to say it. Don't be ashamed to say it. But Mr. John, my Baptist card been revoked a long time ago. It's been revoked a long time ago. So, but yeah, we have to do something, people. We got to start making some moves. We got to do something to get rid of the violence that we are having in our community. And like I say, I'm taking all suggestions, anything that I can do. And I apologize. Earlier in the show, I apologize because I personally want to be doing more out in the community. However, you know, I have to hold down a full-time job because somebody got to keep these lights on. Somebody got to buy these ramen noodles over here, you know, and you know, we got to maintain. I got kid in college and this, that, and other, so I can't just stop my job and go into being an advocate full time. There you go, that Gator fan. But I want to do more. It's just my time is very, very limited, and I'll be honest with you on that. And I can't get out in the community like I want to. But somebody does have more time than me. Somebody has the time. And I think if all of us do what we can, when we can, where we can, it'll make a difference. We just have to come together as a people. We have to come together as a people and come up with some credible, some reliable, some solutions that is going to be, you know, easily implemented, that can reach a broad number of people. And we have to do something to stop this violence, people. We really do. We really do. But again, if you just joined me, we're talking about the local situation with the violence. We still have Monday Night Football Talk coming up. What time is it? Let's see. We have, okay, Monday Night Football Talk coming up in about 10 minutes. In about 10 minutes, we're going to go over the scores and talk about that. Mr. Larry Simmons says absent fathers. Definitely absent fathers is a issue. Definitely is a issue. And we have talked about that so many times, the absent fathers. And you know, studies show that in our prison systems, that upwards of 80% of the men that are in our prisons come from single parent homes. And most of those single parents' homes is absence of a father. There are some homes that is absence of a mother and the father is raising these children, but most of those are absence of a father. And I think a father figure in a home can make the world of difference when it comes to raising, especially little knucklehead boys. And also with our young girls. I think if we had more fathers in the homes of these young girls, maybe they wouldn't act like that. Maybe they wouldn't dress like they dress. Maybe they wouldn't do the things that they do. Maybe they wouldn't be 12 years old, but you think they 19, 20 years old in the way that they look and they dress, you know, and how they carry themselves. And maybe they would know how they should be treated by a man if they had a man to look up to and educate them on how a man should treat them. But at the same time, if they got a man in their life, or they got a father in their life, or whatever the case may be, you know, if they got a knucklehead in their life and the knucklehead is out there doing the exact same thing that a responsible father would tell their daughters not to get caught up into, then we may have something. But Mr. Dawson, what's going on, Mr. Dawson? Mr. J Dizzle is in the house. He said, when we can figure out what's the difference now versus when we came up, that part of the answer. Now, what has changed is technology and the constant bombardment of TV, videos, music, all the crap that they can watch right now. Their phones and social media, and is a variety of things we didn't have. Right, and Mr. JD, that's what I was talking about earlier. I was saying that we cannot use 20th century resolutions to solve 21st century problems. So, you know, we have to do something. We got to come together, and I will promise you I will try to do better. It's just that my time is so limited to where I got so much going on. I promise you I do. I got so much going on, man, and my time is limited. So, but let's jump on into Monday night football talk. Let's start with the college game. Mr. Adams, he want to talk about the pros. He want to talk about the. He don't want to talk about college because the Gators got they behinds whooped. He don't want to talk about college. He's trying to jump to the pros where he's talking about his Eagles. We know the Eagles are soaring right now. The Eagles are doing good. I like Jalen Hurts back there. I like him, and the Eagles are doing good. Cowboys. I know I talk about the Cowboys quite often. I talk about them like I'm not a fan, but I'm trying to trying to get back to be a Cowboy fan, but I just need Jerry Jones to go away first. Jerry Jones is the reason why I can't, even though I feel for those players, but Jerry Jones is the reason why I can't get with the Cowboys, and I hate it because I would die hard, you know, back in the day in the Tom Landry era when we had all the Dorsets and the Emerson Walls and the Starbacks and all them people, you know, Ed Tutall. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I'm on scatterbrain right now. There you go, that Alabama fan, Mr. Murphy. Roll Tide, yeah. But let's go over the college scores. Real quick. Let's talk about that real quick. In college, we started on Thursday night with Utah and Oregon State. Utah got whooped by Oregon State, 21-7. And Utah was one of the teams that got to go. I used to like Dak. I used to root for Dak, but Dak got to go. It's time to move on. It's time to move on. I think Dak needs a whole different environment, a whole different team. He needs to move on. I think the Jets can use Dak right about now. So yeah, Dak need to move on. But anyway, Utah lost to Oregon State 21-7. And I thought Utah was going to be a team that was going to give Colorado some issues, but seeing how Oregon State handled them the way they did, I think Colorado got a better chance to either play them real tough and win. But we'll have to see. They play them later on in the season. Georgia squeaked out a win over Auburn 27-20. That's always a tough game anytime you have those two. Well, Mr. John, anybody can beat the Gators right now. Gators suck. We know Utah beat y'all. But Georgia and Auburn, Georgia's still at number one spot. They'll stay number one until they lose a ball game. But they won Michigan 45-7 over Nebraska. Nebraska's having it rough right now. They are 2-3. You know, back in the day when, you know, Nebraska's not in their heyday anymore, obviously, but Michigan took care of them 45-7. Then we had Texas over Kansas 40-14. Texas is ranked number 3. They still are rolling 5-0. Excuse me. And then we had Penn State over Northwestern 41-13. No surprise there. Penn State is also 5-0. Washington beat Arizona 31-24. Washington is still 5-0, and they out there in the Pac-12. So the Pac-12, got some people representing out there. USC is another team out there in the Pac-12, 48-41 over Colorado. That was the game of the day. Yes, sir. My nose will be showing up when it comes to playing them Gators, Mr. Adams. My nose will show up and show out. I guarantee you on that one. But yeah, USC Colorado. If you did not watch, I watched that game. That was the only game I seen in its entirety, if you will. And I tell you, in the first quarter, I almost gave up on Coach Prime and gave up on the Colorado Buffaloes. The way they came out in the first quarter, just doing dumb stuff, stupid mental mistakes, and USC jumped on them early, capitalized on a couple of mistakes. Had the short field to go to where they, the first drive was a long drive, and they drove the ball around down the field and scored. And then they had a couple of short fields to deal with and scored a couple more times. And they put up 14 in the first quarter, then put up another 20 points in the second quarter. Colorado did fight back in the second quarter where they put up 14 points, but they were still looking kind of shaky. However, the second half came around, and they started being competitive. They started getting better. And keep in mind, Colorado had like 4 starters out, 3 or 4 starters that did not play, and one of them being Travis Hunter, which is their best player out there. Period. The best player on the field on this team. He did not play. Then you had the other Sanders kid, that the cornerback that was out, and you had a couple other starters that was out. So with that being said, with missing 3 or 4 starters, it showed in the first half. But they stuck in there, and they fought and they came back, and I predicted them to lose the ball game. But they showed heart. They showed that they can be competitive. They showed that they can play, and they Shedeur, yeah. They can play the game. They have the ability to be a very, very good team. It's just that they have to gel. This is year one. You can't expect Prime to come in there in 1 year and just have a stellar year and win every ball game. That's just not reality. And I predicted that Colorado would have 3 losses. I predict they would lose to USC. I predict they would lose to Oregon. And then at the beginning of the season, I said that I predicted they were going to lose to Utah. But now I'm believing, based on how they played USC on Saturday, that they have a very good chance. Good correction, Shiloh. I keep getting them mixed up myself. But they have a very good chance of having an 8-9 game winning season, and that's just this year. And they're going to build on that next year. Like Deion said, he need about 5 or 6 more dogs, and he call them dogs, and those are the ones that just ball out. He need about 5, 6 more of those. And do I believe he's going to get those 5 and 4-star recruits next year? Yes, I do. He's going to get them. So next year, watch out. He's going to get 8 or 9 wins this season. He's going to be bowl eligible. He's going to play in a bowl. He's going to bring a lot of money to whatever city that they play in or whatever bowl game they play in, and he's going to keep it moving. Mr. Davis, good to see you, Mr. Davis. He said those couple of freshmen showed out. There's some talent on that team. Yes, that number 14, that receiver, number 14, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember his name. But yeah, that kid showed up, and he really impressed me with his play. I think it's Miller is his name. Miller is his name. He had almost 200 yards receiving, 7 or 8 catches, something like that. But he came in and he did what he had to do, and he played a good game. And even though Colorado lost that game, I predicted them to lose. I predicted them to lose that game. But they showed that they're going to be a team to reckon with. And I think Deion was happy with that as well. He was proud of what his team had done. He stated that in the post-game press conference, and he just got to get his two things that he got to work on. Two things he got to work on. He got to work on his defensive line. Defensive line, he got to get more pressure on the quarterback. Got to get more pressure on the quarterback, and he got to work on his offensive line. His offensive line is kind of suspect in a lot of aspects. Luckily, Sanders back there, quarterback, has the ability to escape a lot of situations. But at the same time, Sanders got to get better at getting rid of the ball quicker. Sometimes he hold on to the ball too long. Mr. Adams said he has some seniors like Smoke. He ain't playing. Well, I think he's going to give everybody opportunity. And we don't see what he see. We don't see what he see at practice. We don't see what his coaches are reporting to him at practice, because just because you are a senior doesn't mean that you can ball out better than that freshman or that sophomore. Because trust me, I'm a little biased on that, because I just happen to have a redshirt freshman that's balling out, and everybody see that he balling out. But he is behind an upperclassman because he is still a freshman. But he balls out, and the team recognizes the fact that he's balling out and should be the number one. But anyway, we're not going to get on that. Let's move on. The rest of these scores. Oregon beat Stanford. I guess at the beginning of the season, people thought even Stanford was going to be a better team than what they are. They're 1-4 right now. But Oregon beat up on them 42-6. Notre Dame squeaked out a win over Duke, 21-14. Y'all don't sleep on Duke. Yeah, don't sleep on Duke. You go to sleep and think the ACC ain't nothing to reckon with if you want to. When Duke come to town, or you go to Duke to play, you gonna have to come to play. Duke ain't nobody to play with. They played Notre Dame. They end up losing by one score. But Duke got some athletes over there. If they had a better first half, it would have been a whole different ball game. But don't sleep on Duke. They're not just a basketball school anymore. Chris Murphy, the Alabama beat Mississippi State 40-17. Alabama, I'm still not a Tide fan and will never be a Tide fan. But they squeaked out a win 40-17. It wasn't, they Lord Jesus. See, Chris put that on there because I'm saying something negative about Alabama. He said Duke gonna be at FSU. I said Duke ain't nobody to play with, but they can't. My nose still gonna get them. It's gonna be a tough game, but my nose still gonna get them. It's not gonna be a situation where Florida State can just roll up and see Duke on their schedule and say, okay, we got an automatic win. Them days are over. So, but anyway, Alabama got the win. LSU lost to Ole Miss 55-49. Nobody decided to play defense in that game. So the best offense for that day won that ball game. Oklahoma beat Iowa 50-20. South Carolina lost to Tennessee 41-20. Tennessee seemed to be a sleeper over there. They're 4-1. They seem to be a sleeper. But you got to keep an eye on Tennessee. They rank kind of low. They ranked at 21, but you got to keep an eye on them. They may start making some moves here. Kentucky beat the Florida Gators 33-14. Let me say that again. Kentucky beat the Florida Gators 33-13. And Mr. Adams think that they're gonna come and do something to the Seminoles. Really, we will see. Missouri over Vanderbilt 38-21. Fresno State 27-9 over Nevada. And that kind of sums up our top scores in college ball. I wish I had time to go into the HBCUs and but we're gonna move on because we just have a little bit left here in the show. Let's move on to the pro game. Let's see what happened in the pro game. And I know Mr. Adams out there, he's happy about his Eagles being 4-0 right now. I'm happy for Hurts. I'm not an Eagles fan, but I'm happy for Hurts. I guess as long as Hurts playing for the Eagles, I have to root for the Eagles because I want to see him do well, especially after Nick Saban screwed him, and he had to go to another school to do what he could have kept doing at Alabama. So Nick Saban screwed Jalen Hurts, and he went over to Oklahoma and showed Nick that he can still ball out. You don't pull your starter. Nick Saban pulled his starter in the championship game because of one or two bad balls. After Jalen Hurts had got them to where they were, got them to that point, he pulled that kid and then benched him because of one or two bad plays. That I lost. Even though I never had much respect for Saban, I lost all respect for Saban after that. And I hated to see Jalen stand on that sideline that next year and watch from the sideline and have them put him in for certain situations. And then when Tua got hurt, they threw him in there and he did his thing or whatever. And, he just used that kid. And I'm glad he transferred and went somewhere else that appreciated him because obviously Nick Saban didn't appreciate him. So I'm glad he's doing well. And he is not he is not from Alabama. He is Oklahoma. But anyway, let's see what happened. Who we got? I think what's tonight? Who is it? The Giants and the Seahawks tonight? Is that who it is tonight? Yes, sir. Mr. Murphy said, I'm a big Jalen Hurts fan. That kid is so mature. He's a good quarterback. I like him. Even though he started at Alabama, I like him though. Detroit beat the Packers 34-20. 34-20. The Falcons lost to the Jaguars 23-7. Falcons were 2-2. They started out hot and then they just cooled off after that. The Jaguars are also 2-2. The Dolphins. I'm trying to understand what happened to the Dolphins. You go from scoring 70 points to losing by 28. Somebody, one of you Dolphins fans out there, please comment and explain that one to me. How you go from scoring 70 points, winning by 50, to losing by 28 to the Bills. Somebody explain that to me. Put your comment in the comment section. I need to know. Broncos 31-28 over the Bears. My boy, Justin Fields in the Bears. I feel so bad for him. Justin Fields was so promising coming out of college, and now he's on this team that he can't get no help. He's not playing his best either, but I just feel bad for him. But the Broncos beat them 31-28. The Ravens over the Browns 28-3. The Browns, I think as a NFL team, I think if you can only score 3 points in an NFL game, I don't think you should get paid for that week. The coaches or the staff, the players, the staff, nobody should get paid for that week if you cannot put up more than 3 points if you are a team in the National Football League. That's just my opinion. But they lost 28-3. The Browns lost 28-3 to the Ravens, and then the Bengals turn around and lose 27-3 to the Titans. So two teams in the NFL can't score more than 3 points. Millionaires running around out there on the field, and we can't get more than 3 points. That just don't sit right with me. The Rams 29-23 over the Colts. The Buccaneers 26-9 over the Saints. How you let Baker Mayfield beat you, Saints, I don't know. I like to root for the Saints, even though I like to root for the Buccaneers as well, but Baker Mayfield is just not the quarterback that I want to see in Tampa Bay. but they beat the Saints. Jameis, what's really happening, dude? I need you to do better. I need you to do better, Jameis, out there in New Orleans. Washington Commanders 34 over. I'm sorry, Washington Commanders. The Eagles beat them 34-31. Eagles won. Commanders gave them a game, but the Eagles pulled it out. The Panthers lost to the Vikings 21-13. The Texans beat the Steelers 30-6. Mike Tomlin, you got to get it together over there, buddy. You got to get it together. You're 2-2. You're 2-2 right now. We know that you never had a losing season in the 17 years that you've been in the league. But you know the way y'all looking right now, it may happen. You got to get it. You got to get them on track. You know, if you have a losing season, you out of there. They're gonna get rid of you. They're looking for a reason to get rid of you. So Mike Tomlin, you got to tighten up. You got to tighten up. You got to get your team in the playoffs. If you don't reach the playoffs, you know you might be searching for another team next year. I have to check your contract to see what your contract say, but Chargers 24-17 over the Raiders. Cowboys 38-3 over the Patriots. And for you Cowboy fans out there, again, I'm trying to be a Cowboy fan, but you Cowboy fans, you know, don't jump in hoorah and poke your chest out because you beat the Patriots. The Patriots suck. If you couldn't beat the Patriots, then you probably should turn in your uniform at this point. Patriots sucking right now. So you should have won. So don't act like you don't want a Super Bowl just because you beat the Patriots. But again, I'm still trying to be a Cowboy fan. I'm trying to get back. Then we had the Chiefs and the Jets, 23-20. That damn Mahomes. I like Mahomes. I promise you, I swear I like him. But he made a couple dumb mistakes last night. I watched that game with the Jets last night. He made a couple dumb throws, throwing off his back foot. You know, I know he do some weird things with the ball, but he a couple times he threw off his back foot, threw a couple of interceptions. Actually, they threw three. One of them they call it holding there at the end of the game, a defensive holding, but you know, he just finds a way to win. Mahomes he finds a way to win. And that play, I don't know if you guys are real football savvy when it comes to the rules and the execution of plays and strategies and this, that, and other. But if you go and watch the end of that game, end of the Jets-Chiefs game, when Mahomes took off running there at the end of the game, they was inside the 2-minute warning. The Jets did not have any more timeouts. Mahomes took off, was headed for the end zone. It was, I think, once he got to the 4-yard line, it was get a first down. But in anybody else, he had a clear path to the end zone. Anybody else would have scored and spiked the ball and ran around and jumped up and hooped and hollered, you know, like they had done something. But Mahomes has a football brain to where he knew that all he had to do was get the first down, go down in the field of play, and the ball game was over. If he had a scored, that would have put the ball back in the hands of the Jets. So he made, you know, just something that simple, you know, for somebody to have that in their brain to do that. That impressed me. That's why I like Mahomes so much. So, but yeah. But those are the scores from football. Like I say, tonight I think we have the Giants and the Seahawks. My brother-in-law is a Giants fan. They are 1-2 right now. The Seahawks is 2-1. We're gonna see what happens. We're gonna see what happens tonight with this. But anyway, but that wraps it up for Monday Night Football Talk. That wraps it up for the Truth with G tonight. It's time for me to get up out of here because I think we got somebody coming up right after me on WPMM. It's been a great night. Appreciate you guys joining me once again. Join me once again on Thursday night, 6 o'clock p.m. Central Time, the time when we come back. We're going to talk about these issues. We're going to talk about we didn't get to the court system in regards to the Trump situation. We didn't get to the shutdown where I need to explain to you guys what's going on. Explain to you guys what's going on in our court system. So we need to talk about that. To explain to you what's going on with the shutdown, because it's pretty much a temporary shutdown, 45 days. Not a shutdown, but to avoid the government shutdown. We only got 45 days to get some bills passed in order to keep the government open. So we're going to be back in the same situation in about 43 days from now. If the Congress don't get their stuff together. We'll talk about that on Thursday night. Mr. Adams asked, I think teams are going to stop drafting quarterbacks in the first round? I think they should. Because you can't put your top quarterback on a team that sucks and expect you to be a good ball team. We've seen that in so many cases. Just look at the last few quarterbacks that have won the Heisman and number one draft picks. They're not doing nothing. You know, Justin Fields, the long haired boy out there in Carolina, he ain't doing nothing. All these you setting these quarterbacks up to fail. Old boy from Alabama came out of Alabama, Bryce Young. You know, they just setting these kids up to fail. But yeah, I think they need to, they need to come up. They need to concentrate on the offense and defensive line more than anything. You know, strengthen the offensive and defensive lines of these teams, and then put a quarterback back there. Put a team together, and then put a good quarterback behind a good offensive line, and let them play. You know, get a good defensive line and a good defense. Get some linebackers in there that's going to give that quarterback a chance and good field positions and this, that, and other. Purdy was the last. Purdy was the, what they call him. He was the last pick of the draft. But I hadn't seen what he was. I have not looked at Purdy's stats to see what he's doing, even if he's playing, to be honest with you. But yeah, he was. Dang it, what they call the last person in the draft? I forgot. I'm getting old. But anyway, but it is time for me to get out of here. And again, I'll see you guys on Thursday night, 6:00. Make sure that you join me talking about the issues that matter to you and your community. And in the meantime, you guys be responsible. Don't do anything stupid. You know, I want to see you back here on Thursday night. Y'all be safe. Y'all be blessed. And I am out of here.